Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is where we have motivational, inspiring conversations and interviews that we hope you'll enjoy listening to.
Join us and other inspired actioneers on this alchemical, transformational journey.
Welcome back to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is Pod 142. My name is Jay, and I'm here with my co-host, as always, Lita Herman.
Welcome back, Inspired Actioneers. So today's episode is about taking a little time out for yourself and your loved ones. And in this crazy time in the world, especially in the United States, but really in many places, so many people have been experiencing a sense of overwhelm.
Overwhelm, overload. We have the optimistic versus the pessimistic. We want the optimism, right? We want to be optimistic.
Yes. And our philosophy at the Inspired Action Podcast is that we're basically apolitical in general, especially since the alchemists of antiquity were known for being apolitical. And especially during times of political unrest, the alchemists would recede into the background and retreat from public life into the mountains. So with that backdrop in mind, today's podcast is about the times of change that we're seeing right now and the idea that we might feel overwhelmed by that. But today we want to bring some hope.
Yeah, and I think that in your mind, is this a little trip to the mountains? Are we visualizing?
Yeah.
A little retreat now?
A little retreat.
Yes, and hope is good. You know, wood brings hope. We're going to start today this series on wood.
Yes.
And the overwhelm with wood. So
yes.
I think that's a good place to start, as always.
Yes, and when we work through this series, we're going to talk about the love and the fire and caring, with earth and honoring with metal and mattering with water. All the elements will be a part of this idea of what do we do with the overwhelm that we might be feeling?
Yeah, I think I'm going to call it the optimistic. Let's be the optimistics in our own lives. We live our lives that way. We tell our students to be the mystic all the time. So let's be the optimistic.
I like that, to be the mystic, the
right?
Mystic. I love it.
All right. So, Lita, how can we put a perspective on this from Chinese medicine and alchemy? Let's give this, put a little, bow on this. Like, how do we wrap this up for people to get their minds around?
Well, first of all, that bow would be blowing in the wind.
There you
because
go.
Change, which is what we're all experiencing right now, change in Chinese medicine is like a wind
But not
blowing.
A gentle breeze.
No. Well, ideally, we would want gentle breezes in life. That means the wind is just gently nudging us forward along the path.
I like that. That sounds nice.
Yeah. So gentle breezes are lovely. And we all know that big winds are a bit scary, and they can create some chaotic energy even in the body.
Yeah. So if you're feeling like the hurricane forces are gathering in your part of the world, wherever you live in the world, and that's throwing off your game, well, that kind of makes sense. So, the hurricane, chaotic energy starts to make you feel like crazy a little bit.
Yep.
So wind is like that. It's such a good friend on a hot day. Like you said, that gentle cooling, but a big change, that hurricane, that's sometimes harder to navigate. So the first thing I do personally is check myself for chaotic energy.
Yes.
By the way, we created a class on that in the Alchemy Learning Center. Just a little plug there, but I'm just saying it works. We made that class for a reason.
Yes. And we believe that really does help. If you release that chaotic energy from within yourself, even if there's chaos outside of you, you do feel better. It's an easy step that you can take for yourself in the right direction.
It's like self-empowerment.
Yeah. When you feel when you feel overwhelmed, you have a tool that you can do, which is release that chaotic energy from within inside you. And this episode, looks back at how Chinese medicine deals with these kinds of things, like big winds that might be blowing, how the Taoist alchemists in particular, how they experienced a lot of upheaval in their lives, and how they navigated the world back then.
Yeah, and I always like to think that we can learn from them. And this episode is for all the listeners out there who might be feeling the overwhelm of the big, enormous changes that are either happening right now or appear to be on the horizon. And remember, not all change is bad. There have been many ways we as the human race have undergone huge changes in our quality of life in a very short period of time, which we are living in. right now.
Right. Because, there are all kinds of wins. You could just think of it as technological wins, like when huge advances have occurred in humanity, in human history, in technology.
Sure.
So, we think we're the technological, society.
We're just the latest and the greatest.
Right. Because if you look back at the late 1800s, early 1900s, so much changed back then. Imagine the birth of the automobile, the birth of a plane, electricity.
Wow.
So much changed in people's lives in a very short period of time back then.
Yeah. And if you can just put that in contrast to our lives right now, right? Wow. It's crazy. So whether you're consciously aware of it or not, it's rapidly changing. Similarly, in terms of technology advances, basically AI, right? Everyone knows this AI, but that's artificial intelligence.
Right.
And we are basically babies in our diapers.
Yes.
And we're about to climb out of the crib.
Yes.
Okay. And take over and stomp through the world. But right now we're pooping in our diapers, but it's coming.
Yes.
And it's going to be crazy. So how we deal with that, again, let's be the optimistic, but we're going to do AI down the road because that's another whole complete topic that I want to cover.
About an AI topic for this podcast. So if any of you have any thoughts on that, you can reach out directly to us.
But right now, the visual of the baby pooping in the diaper.
Yes,
there we go.
What a great visual.
But it's going to crawl out of the crib, take over the world. Imagine this big giant baby stomping. But no, it's coming. And it's here. It's here already.
Yes.
But again, let's just step back from the AI because that's going to be another topic. But right now we have political changes in the world, some impacting one small area of the world. Sometimes they're more global, which seems to be on the case right now. We're on the precipice of global changes. We have trade wars, possible economic tough times. We have warring nations. We have humanitarian crisis. We have so many things. And yes, it can feel overwhelming for people. So today we're going to address that overwhelm and see if we can help navigate it. Today we're going to do wood. We're going to do all 5 of the elements. But today we're going to talk about wood because, got to go wood first. No patience.
Yeah. And we do, of course, have our own political.
What?
Yes. But these are just opinions. And as alchemists, we still hold that there's no good or bad in the big scheme of things, which is stage 5.
I like to say no good, no bad, no right, no wrong, only good.
Right.
That's my little...
Right. Or neither good. Neither good nor bad.
I know.
And that's stage 5 of alchemy, of the 9 stages of alchemy. And from that perspective, what matters here today for this podcast is to pay attention to our own inner states during times of change.
Yes. So we're going to talk about control and worry and overwhelm. But for our inner state, what are you feeling right now? And for many of our listeners who've been listening for a long time and they're writing us, they're feeling overwhelmed. They're feeling confused. They're starting to get afraid. They're starting to panic. They're starting to worry and they're in fear. So we're going to look at a little bit of that and just see if we can be the optimistics.
Yes. And we have a few concepts we can talk about, this concept of wind. And we've talked about how it symbolizes change in Chinese medicine.
There seems to be a lot of wind blowing out there, like a lot of hot air. Blowing.
Yes.
A lot.
A lot of hot air blowing.
Coming from the south.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
And here's the thing. Change can be good.
Yes.
And it means life isn't that boring when you have change. We love that gentle breeze and the air just doesn't feel stagnant when the wind's blowing. And so, that's kind of an interesting concept right now. If you're feeling pessimistic about life, maybe we can just embrace this idea that if change is coming, it may actually be good to have some change.
Right. And, the pessimistic is going to be the bad. See the bad, see the down, see the negative, which I'm not saying exists or doesn't exist. But if you're going to be weather forecasting a bit of a hurricane, I don't know, maybe not so bad.
Yeah.
So what's an alchemist to do, Lita? We still haven't got to that. What do we do?
And that's what we are going to talk about today. What's a good approach? And for you specifically, our listeners, because you all come to us with different energetic elemental backgrounds and perspectives, what's a good approach for you in particular when you feel overwhelmed?
You have all 5 elements in you. Whatever the order is, we're going to work on it. But wait, don't give the answer yet.
Yes. Okay.
Before we give the answer, which I just asked for.
Yes.
let's tell everyone what's going on in the ALC, the alchemylearningcenter.com.
Well, it's a very exciting day here at the Inspired Action
Yay!
Podcast headquarters.
We launched our book officially.
Well, yes, I was just going
Finally.
to say that.
I can't wait another second. I can't wait another second. But we will have a official launch party soon. But you can buy it wherever you buy books, and it's out
Yes,
and it's about, and
it's
we're just
out.
it's just like another baby in its little diaper coming out.
And it's called Cultivating the 13 Ghost Points.
Yay!
Woo!
Right.
So we're super excited to, offer that to the world. And when
We'll have a book party, a little book launch
Yes.
online. We'll talk about why the Ghost Points are amazing tools for your self-cultivation in general. But
Yeah.
overall, it's a fascinating topic. And if you ever get a Ghost Point session with us or with one of our students, it's life-changing. And so this book gives you a really good insight on how to understand and how to self-cultivate with it.
Yeah. And for our listeners, if you like the podcast and you want more along those lines, you might enjoy taking our Understanding the Five Elements class or our Understanding the Nine Palaces class. And both of those are available at the Alchemy Learning Center. And we mentioned chaotic energy.
Yeah.
We have a Releasing Chaotic Energy class. But all of these are a wonderful opportunity to really get to know yourself more deeply, get some tools in your tool belt for when you're not doing so great. So these are all helpful for this podcast today because we're going to talk about the five elements. We're going to talk about the nine palaces. We're going to talk about chaotic energy.
So if you become a member in the Learning Center, we have ongoing live events. We have weekly events. We're constantly engaging with our members. We have a lot of fun with everyone. We have a very, very active Signal channels. We have quite a few of them. And so...
And those classes are available with the membership.
That's right.
So that's cool too.
So alchemylearningcenter.com. If you're a lifelong learner and love learning about new stuff such as alchemy, ghost points, five elements, stone medicine, I can go on and on and on with nice people from all over the world, then check it out, alchemylearningcenter.com.
Okay, great.
And wait, if you have 1 second left, Lita, before you jump, I'm ready. I know I can tell you're ready to go. If you like this podcast for any moment, even for a second, please rate and review. It helps other people find this podcast. And we'd be very personally grateful for you to do that.
Yes. And
thank you.
We appreciate you subscribing or just getting
listening.
The word out.
You don't even have to
tell your friends.
Honestly, you don't even have to do anything. We're just happy you're listening.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, back to you. We're going to talk about
our podcast.
You, the listeners. We're going to help you today navigate the hurricane of overwhelm by being the optimistic. So today we're going to talk about wood. And let's take a little bit and talk about how we can all try to understand and live our lives in these times of big changes based on our elemental energies. So how do we act? How do we proceed? How do we respond? Because we're all different, especially, energetically speaking, we're all different. We're all going to have different ways to respond to the same thing that's happening to everyone.
Yes. So if you understand yourself, for example, energetically, then during this hurricane season of craziness in our lives.
Wait, I think we should call it Hurricane Crazy.
There you go.
They name them, right? Hurricane Crazy 2025.
There you go. And whether it's about the changes in our lives with the introduction of AI or the changes in the world with politics or climate changes or all of the wars and humanitarian crises that we are seeing these days, whatever it is, we as a species, the human species, we're going through a lot right now. So how can you know yourself and what works for you?
Well, let's start with wood. Just go, go, go. Wood, wood, wood.
Perfect. And you all know we often start with wood because wood is about renewal. It's springtime. It's new beginnings. So for wood people, they feel safe when there's a sense that things are in control.
And this might be a time that we're living in right now where you don't quite feel that way, like things are in control. Maybe things feel out of control and not fair. And maybe the win-win is not happening. All the things we talk about wood, it might be, in your opinion, maybe not so good right now.
Yeah, and it's important for wood people to not get ahead of themselves. There is so much forward motion in a wood person's life that they might get into survival mode when things feel out of control. And that is not a good look for wood people.
No, we want to avoid that at all costs, because when a wood person like myself is in survival mode, that's what we like to call it, right? We just watched a show and they called it like gorilla mode, like full gorilla mode, right?
Yes.
And so it's like this crazy kind of like, wood, water, like this, right?
Yes.
We move fast and we go into overdrive and it's even faster. We put all our mental capacities, which is good at efficiencies and strategies and win-wins and everyone's happy. We put that on overload. It gets applied to the survival. And that's not a great place for wood. It's kind of miserable. It can't be sustained for too long. And the people around wood are like, this is not fun. It's a little intense. It's not the happy, fun, benevolent wood energy.
Right.
It's like full gorilla mode.
Well,
right?
that makes sense because in that case, the wood person is losing the feeling of hope. And there's no time even to have hope. So that's not a happy place for wood.
Hope will come after we're out of this crisis.
Right.
Hope will come. Let's hope we all survive. Kind of
Right.
that mentality, right?
Yes.
So what's a good suggestion, one or two suggestions for a wood person? How can we navigate the hurricane crazy?
Well, yes, it's really straightforward. They have to come back to the present moment.
And I'll just add and breathe.
Yes.
And breathe.
And breathe. And then they can ask themselves, am I truly in extreme danger right now?
That's where the breath comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take a breath. Let's go. Probably not if they're, they're probably not in extreme danger, unless maybe you're in a war zone or some immediate crisis. But otherwise, it could be in your mind and how you're trying to get things back into control. It could be the news that's got you all worked up. It could be a cranky neighbor talking about the news, the politics, religion, whatever is, that's kind of being shaken up right now. So just breathe and think about maybe going for a walk in the woods or just going for a walk or doing something that you can take a moment to relax in.
Well, that's a good point. Let's just talk for a minute about a true emergency. Like, you mentioned the war zone. I mean, if life around you is like a war zone, whether it's truly a war zone, which unfortunately
is intense and sad and
horrible, and it's happening. But the majority of people on this planet are, not actually in a battle right now. They're not on the front line. And still, maybe as a wood person, you're just letting fear take over, and that's put you in survival mode. And survival mode means fast decisions, fast actions, and the feeling that things might not turn out the way you want.
Unless you push through. Mm-hmm. It's like this push way. You push through, we talk about the little sprout pushing through the cement, no matter what, right? It's going to come through.
Right.
But
and I just want to say, I mean, this is the beauty of wood. If there is a true survival issue, they're going to step up and they're going to do what needs to be done. And that's a different type of podcast than today.
Right. That's more like the art of war, when the last thing they want to do is go to war. They want to do everything, avoid, strategize, go around, go under, go over, and before they blow up things. Like that's the art of war strategy for the wood.
Exactly. And if it's not truly necessary to be in survival mode, then
stay out of it.
Right.
Yeah. And again, you can look at your life and ask yourself some questions. If I cannot know the future right now, we're going to talk a little bit about the future here, right? If I cannot know the outcome of the future, and, woods love to know the future, and sometimes they're the future tellers, like the oracles, right? That's a good wood characteristic. But truly, you cannot know the future. Even if you are a future teller, you don't know what's going to really happen. So what are you feeling that inspires you in the moment? How can you chill and still be doing something to make things better for the world? Around you, your world around you that you can be a part of right now in this moment.
Yes, the wood people, you have to come back to inspired action. This is, wood is the energy in the world that can take action to make the world a better place.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, these are all like they sound like good concepts. So again, you just have to be in that moment. You have to come back even to the excitement of a good challenge, whether it's weeding the garden or training for a race, but not from that survival point. Okay. You never go to look at to weed the garden or do the garden and say, oh my God, if I don't weed this garden, I'm going to die, or they're all going to die, or the plants are going to die. But you might have a little bit of a reason to get that done. So we want to get away from the survival point of view and go. I love that, the inspired. So the wood has to come back to the excitement of a good challenge, not from that intense survival point of view. But maybe there's things you really don't like happening in the near future, or you think they're on the horizon, or they're coming back to your way. Maybe you can think of it as tackling the good challenge, but not in a life or death way. How can you shift that perspective, Lita? How can you turn these things that you have no control over, you can't see the future about, but you have to turn that into something that you can, process and work through and have it in a challenge in a positive light. I like to go motivate people to take actions or, take on something less intense.
Yeah. Well, it's a great idea. Like, let's just use the example of running an athletic race. When a wood person is taking on that kind of challenge, it's super exciting. It's very positive. They train, they do
It
hard
can be a little
things.
intense, but
Yeah. And then when they go into it, they feel confident and they know they're going to do their very best.
and they know they've put the hard work in. They know they put the effort in. They've done their best to get ready for it. Then you just let it unfold.
Yeah. And
Right.
let's just say they want to play a game with a friend or something or a bunch of friends, they're going to have fun doing it. They're still going to have strategy. They still might find winning very easy, but they like to have fun. So it's a challenge, but at the same time, it's super fun.
And you're finding the win-win, right?
Mhm.
That's the mental state of the
Yeah.
wood in a good place. Things don't have to be easy. We don't like it when things are easy.
Yeah.
Okay. We like things that are internally a little challenging. We like to do the hard things. We like to make the hard things look easy. And we just like to keep doing the things that one goal after another, and moving forward. And, again, we keep saying, but not in that survival mode. Okay. There's, a wood person in ease or in their good place. You have to ask yourself, am I in survival mode right now? Or do I need to breathe and chill and go sit for a minute and relax and re-strategize what we can actually do to make the things in the future that you think are coming a little more easier to digest right now.
Yeah. Ask yourself, how can I be more up to this task?
Yeah. I mean, you might have to look at your resources. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating? Are you gathering your people together who are motivated and happy? What are the resources that could possibly happen? I mean, I don't think you have to go through every single scenario. That would be more like water,
Yeah.
right? But just to think about what you can control in your part of your little world. And, this is all of the wood stuff that you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, the army can't go into battle if they're exhausted and
Right.
hungry and short-staffed.
And
then
don't have a plan A, a plan B, and a
Yeah.
plan C.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we want to think about. And so I think for the wood perspective is just maybe don't react as much. Like maybe sometimes we have a tendency to overreact quickly
Right.
out of frustration.
And or
Or-
survival mode.
Right. And unfairness. If you watch the news and you're not in the optimistic frame of mind,
Yes.
you might be thinking, oh my God, this, that. So again, take a deep breath, breathing, work on your chaotic energy, clear it. I mean, do your self-cultivation. I know I sound like a broken record. Self-cultivation starts with you. That's why the word is self, right? So work on yourself. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. So if you are called upon, you will be ready.
Yeah. And how can you just transform that survival mode feeling
Right.
into positive challenge that can become positive change in the world because you have all these gifts to give to the world. Like, you can get out on the front line if you want, or you can be in the background.
You can
and
organize,
do
you can
amazing
motivate.
things. Yeah.
Yes, there's so many things you can do. You don't have to sit by and put your head in the sand. You don't have to just, complain or be the pessimistic, right? We want to be the optimistic. We want to be benevolent and kind and positive and hopeful. All the great things of wood. That's what makes wood so great.
Yeah.
And we all have wood in us. So
And-
no matter where it is, it's there.
And it's why we look to wood people to help us in challenging times, because they are here on this planet to actually overcome challenges.
Right.
That's why they're here. And so we just need to help our wood friends get back into that mode of, hey, this is a challenge and we can do it. We can have hope.
And we don't have to do it in a way that's not morally or ethically putting us in a place that we don't want to be in.
Yeah.
We want to stay true to
That's very
ourselves.
important.
We want to be authentic, integrity. We want
Yeah.
our morals, our ethics. We want to help everyone up.
Yeah.
We want to help everyone up. So that's it for wood. But let's talk a tiny bit about fire to get people interested in fire, because I love the fire perspective. So wood is hope. Fire is love. So let's talk about that just for a second.
Yeah. Well, for fire, when there's a sense of overwhelm, it's not just going to be about, what's going on in the world, though that's definitely part of it. It's more about fear, about how change is going to impact their relationships and the love relationships in particular. So let's leave it at that and get people interested in
love. So we have hope, then we're going to do love. I think that fire people love to have their people.
Yeah.
They love to have their family. They love to have their lovers and their circle around them. So when that gets challenged, or they feel like they're going to lose that in a way, that could be really challenging for fire.
The crisis.
Yeah. So, all right. Okay. So that's a little bit on fire coming next. So today's wood. So I hope you all enjoy the hurricane crazy and be the optimistic. Right? Yeah. Be the optimistic.
We're all here to make the world a better place.
Yeah. So it starts with you and me and Lita.
There you go.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Inspired Action Podcast, and you've reached the end. Woohoo! Why not celebrate a little bit and click that subscribe button right there. We love having you with us on this journey, and we want it to continue.
You can also rate and review this podcast. And if you have already, thank you so much. We read all reviews, and your reviews help other people find this podcast as well. You can also be a part of this podcast yourself by submitting a voice recording message and emailing it to us at lita@inspiredactionpodcast.com or jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com.
And if you want, you can join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram.
Join us next week for another Inspired Action conversation. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, and remember to hug the dog.